What if the next graphics card you put in your PC wasn't just for gaming? What if it was powerful enough to go toe-to-toe with the super expensive, specialized hardware that powers the biggest AI on the planet? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. A brand new consumer GPU is starting to blur the lines between your desktop and the data center.
So let's just cut right to the chase. Can a GPU, made for gamers and creators, the NVIDIA RTX 5090, actually stand up to the H100? The H100 is the undisputed king of the AI world, a $25,000 beast of a chip. It sounds kind of ridiculous, right? But as you're about to see, the numbers might just blow you away.
And this is why this whole conversation matters so much. Just look at that price gap. For way, way less than the cost of a single H100, you could build a rig with two RTX 5090s. That is a massive difference, and it could be a complete game changer for smaller companies, researchers, or anyone without a mega budget, if the performance is actually there.
Okay, so how on earth is this even possible? Well, the secret is in NVIDIA's brand new architecture, which they're calling Blackwell. And you gotta understand, this isn't just a small step up, it's a huge leap forward, and it's built from the ground up with AI in mind. So, let's pop the hood.
All right, check this out. This complicated-looking diagram is the GB202 chip, and it's the engine roaring inside the RTX 5090. It is just packed to the gills with specialized cores for everything: graphics, AI, you name it. This incredibly dense design is exactly why this so-called consumer card can throw punches with the heavyweights.
And this chart, wow, it just lays it all out. The RTX 5090 is an absolute monster compared to what came before it. You can see the huge jump in CUDA cores. That's just raw horsepower. But look at the memory bandwidth. It's almost double the 4090. And when you're trying to feed these massive AI models, that bandwidth is the secret sauce. It's everything.
But here's the real kicker. These upgrades are laser-focused on AI. The new Tensor Cores, which are basically little AI math wizards, can now use a more efficient data format called FP4. And what that means is they can process way more data with less memory. You combine that with that super fast GDDR7 memory, and what do you get? A staggering 2.5 times the AI performance of the last generation. Insane.
Okay, enough with the specs. We get it. The 5090 is a beast on paper. But how does all that power actually translate to a real AI job? Let's put it head-to-head with the H100. This is where we find out if the David and Goliath story is for real. And here it is. This is wild. In a test running a large language model, a setup with two RTX 5090s actually beat the H100. I mean, yeah, it's only by 2 tokens per second, but the fact that it's even in the same conversation, let alone slightly faster, is just mind-boggling. But you knew there was a but coming.
Right, and this comment from a Hacker News thread just nails the data center perspective. For them, it's all about efficiency. Power and cooling cost a ton of money. So that extra 400 watts the dual 5090s are pulling, that's a huge deal when you're running thousands of these machines nonstop, 24/7.
But here's the flip side of that coin, and for anyone who isn't running a massive data center, this is a big one. Just look at the cost per gigabyte of VRAM, that crucial video memory. The 5090 is almost 3 times cheaper. For a small team where the biggest problem is just having enough memory to run your model at all, this value is incredible.
So you see, it really just boils down to trade-offs. What do you need? The RTX 5090 gives you absolutely unbeatable bang for your buck and total flexibility. But you don't get the enterprise stuff, like special error-correcting memory that ensures stability over long jobs, or NVLink, which is that high-speed connection that lets data centers seamlessly chain a ton of GPUs together.
All right, enough with the language models and theoretical numbers. Let's try something we can actually see: generating images with AI. We're going to see what happens when we really push this RTX 5090 with one of the most popular tools out there, Stable Diffusion.
So here's the setup. We're using Stable Diffusion XL, a really powerful version, to create some pretty big 1024 by 1024 pixel images. This is a super common workflow, but it's demanding, and it's really going to put the card's memory and raw processing power to the test.
And wow, the results speak for themselves. A single image pops out in just over 6 seconds. But check out what happens when we ask it to generate 4 images all at once. The card completely maxes out its 32 gigs of VRAM, but it just chews through the job. It proves it can handle these parallel tasks without even breaking a sweat.
Let that number sink in for a second. 15 seconds for 4 completely unique, high-resolution images. For any artist, designer, or creator out there, that kind of speed is a creative game changer. It means you can iterate and try new ideas almost instantly.
Of course, all this power, being on the absolute cutting edge, it comes at a price. And I don't just mean the money. Being one of the first people to have this new tech means the software isn't always ready for you. And this is where we get to the very human side of all this, the frustration.
So imagine this, you just spent thousands of dollars on your shiny new GPU. You plug it in, you're all excited, and then you get this. No kernel image available for execution on the device. What does that even mean? Well, it means the core AI software, PyTorch, literally had no idea what this new card was.
And man, you can just feel the pain in this user's comment from Reddit. It's that awful sinking feeling of pure buyer's remorse when your expensive new toy is getting smoked by the old one you were supposed to sell. We've all been there, right? That's the reality of the bleeding edge.
But thankfully, the story has a happy ending. After days of pulling their hair out, the solution was a whole song and dance. It involved installing a special pre-release nightly version of the software, setting it up in a totally clean environment, and then, and this is my favorite part, the final step was the oldest trick in the IT book: a simple system restart. Yep, sometimes you really do just have to turn it off and on again.
Okay, so after all that, the crazy benchmarks, the frustrating error messages, what's the big takeaway? Let's zoom out and really think about what a card like the RTX 5090 means for the future of artificial intelligence.
So here's the breakdown. The power, it's undeniable. This is a consumer card that can actually hang with the data center giants. The price, well, beyond the sticker price, you're paying in high power consumption and the, let's call it the early adopter tax of dealing with bugs. But the potential? That's the real story. This is about democratizing AI, putting incredible power into the hands of way more people.
And that leaves us with this one final massive question. For years, building truly cutting-edge AI was something only huge corporations with billion-dollar budgets could do. But with hardware like the RTX 5090, is that whole power dynamic about to change? Are we about to enter an age where the next massive AI breakthrough doesn't come from a giant corporate lab, but from a startup, a university, or maybe even from someone's basement? The answer to that could change absolutely everything.